Another not-so-great filler episode. And what is even worse, we get Ben and his backstory as the center of this episode. About Jack and Emily. This tension between them was only bearable with the possible happy end in mind. Them fighting and not talking to each other feels like the worst repetition of season 2. And I must admit I was so sick of it that I really enjoyed when he was gone for a few episodes. No offense, Nick Wexler really improved in his acting this season. But I just hate this back and forth with the two. With Aidan and Emily in season 2 and 3 it was fun because we had this ongoing love triangle with Daniel. And the question in mind if Emily would go back to Daniel or if she would actually end up alone because she deceived both men. But here it is just annoyingly clear that she is just not ready to be with Jack because they want to delay it till the season finale. And every scene with her and Ben or Jack just seems to scream that out loud. Of course Nolan still ships them and is just rubbing salt into the wound for the audience. Still, I like this little chat with Louise cause she seems to be a real liberal spirit here. Though it is not fair to Ben, but she is right, why should Emily not have a little fun with him? After all, since the beginning she was introduced as some kind of a man-eater. So why should she go soft on him? If you think about it, she hurt all the men she dated on the show. First of all Jack because all of her lies and rejecting him twice, Daniel because she used him in her vendetta, and Aidan because she was using him too and made him believe they could have a future together after all this was over. I know this was her plan and she could not possibly know that he was in deathly danger when he went to Michelle Banks, but still she put his life in danger over and over again. Last but not least Ben, which was merely a toy boy for her and a distraction until she could be with Jack. So in the end that Ashley called her a grade bitch was true in more than one sense, and especially regarding the men in her life. About Margaux falling in her revengender. I know they had to follow this pattern as some kind of a reverse to Emily's successful takedowns in season 1. But this grew tiring really fast, especially because she was going after Ben in this episode. I mean, Jack is a worthy target because we are invested in him. Spoiler alert, which is the reason why she is going after him twice. But we barely know anything about him, and this first wife with the violent ex-boyfriend just comes in too handy. The only thing that made this watchable was again Nolan, though they are overdoing it with his skills a bit. He looks like Q from James Bond with all these gadgets. About Jack, Nolan and Louise. This little arch here was nice, showing Jack as a daring but challenged single parent, though I always wondered why Emily is not helping him. I mean, she is still Carl's godmother. No matter how things are between her and Jack, she should at least help him out with money, so that he gets more time with his son. After all, in the end she is the reason why he had quit his job as police officer. So it would be only fair, but I guess again Jack's pride stands in the way of such a pragmatic solution. About Louise's style again. And here comes the ugly and strange outfit I was referring to in another episode. What the hell were they thinking? She looks like an adult trying to put her old teenage outfit on. And what did they do with her hair? And this big black eyeliner makes her look even more crazy. About Emily's and Ben's mission. I know this should have been fun and they try to make us root for him. But this does not work at all. They look cool, no doubt, with their leather jackets and driving on a field trip. They use a lot to make us root for new pairings. I remember the field trip from the Vampire Diaries with Damon and Elena in season 2, I think, when she was still with Stefan and they tried to establish a friendship between her and Stefan's brother Damon. But they also captured this sexual tension between the two. Funny cause here again, real life was quicker than the actual plot. Cause Nina Dobrev, who played Elena Gilbert, and Ian Somerhalder, who portrayed Damon Salvatore, fell in love on the set. Yet their love story had no happy end like Emily Van Camp and Joshua Bowman, who got married and have now a daughter. Funny, it is really the opposite. While Elena and Damon got their happy after in the show, Nina and Ian went separate ways. And while Emily and Daniel divorced on the show, they got married in real life and hopefully began their happy ever after. Anyway, the only thing I like was her quote that she is better in this sick game of chess with real people. It is the perfect description of the revenge game cause, as serious as it got in the last 2 seasons. This started as some kind of a game. If you think about the promo pictures of season 1 and the checkered floor in Grayson Manor, it is the perfect metaphor for revenge. I also like them talking about Emily and Aidan. It is interesting that she opens up that much to him, yet she seems to have no problems keeping her emotional distance. Seems like she is doing the same as in that one scene with Daniel in season 3. When she was open up about the loss of her father and how that affected her emotionally and still makes it hard for her to trust and feel emotionally invested in other people. Maybe it is some kind of armor and protective reflex, cause she was hit so hard by Aidan's death that she just does not want to feel that way again. Therefore she rejects Jack, who she really cares about, and still sticks together with Ben, whom she finds attractive but is clearly not in love with. Cause if she had fallen head over heels with him, I think this would have been shown. For me this feels totally understandable, cause that would be my reaction, too. Just to avoid that devastation and feeling like it would be the end of the world. About Emily falling asleep in the car. I still wonder if that was an act to give Ben the chance to talk with April alone. Would have been more like Emily than falling asleep while a dangerous psychopath with a criminal record is walking around to get at them. Anyway, though, I was happy that they cut the story with his ex-wife short. Would have been fitting if they had that deleted scene in which we get to know he has a child and does not know. I know it is pretty much redundant because Daniel died only a few episodes ago without seeing his son or daughter Margaux is pregnant with. But would have been a nice clichés to round this storyline up. And another thing. The guest star as Ben's former wife April. Her snarky comments and overall pissed viper screams that he has a type. Cause Emily seems just to be her twin. Not only from her look but also her attitude. About Jack, Nolan and Louise. I love this scene even because it stands out and seems not to fit in the plot at all. But I miss this little normal problems and plot lines the Porter boys had in season 1. And I miss the stowaway like I miss the cozy beach house. Besides 1 or 2 scenes we have seen it only at night and for brief encounters at the porch. By the way, how Elena Satine and Gabriel Mann are acting here, you really get the idea this relationship could work. So I am not blaming Louise for falling into that trap, wanting to make the marriage real with the full package. So their fight about her brother and him keeping taking of his wedding ring was again uncomfortable to watch. It was funny because we had that underlining joke of him being a typical unfaithful husband with all the clichés. By putting up work as excuse for coming home late and not paying attention to what his wife is actually saying. Anyway, I am on her side in this, and not only because I am a woman. Besides, Louise, Nolan was really immature with all of his boyfriends, Tony and Padma included. They never lasted that long. Besides that on and off relationship with Patrick in season 3. So he never had a prospect of a long-lasting relationship in mind. I think the longest relationship he ever had was with Emily, and that is only a friendship with no romantic interest on both sides. So Louise is right that he understands as little as she from having a long-lasting, happy and fulfilling relationship. And I just love her description of that and her plea for respect. Like I said, the women are the strong characters here. Must be a feminist at work here. About David falling again for the wrong woman. This was really unnecessary. As if we not know by now that David has a bad taste in women and is just too naive. I think that is something he passed on to Charlotte. Like I said, I hate this little story arc with Natalie Waters. I really love the guest actress Gina Torres, who I enjoyed watching in Suits and still love in 911. And she definitely makes it look like a cakewalk playing this revengeful woman who is out for David's and Victoria's blood. But her character is just such a clichés. First, the story about her being a gold digger mirroring all the accusations around Victoria and her first suspicion on Emily. And now this act taking revenge for ruining the Grayson family and putting Conrad in prison. If she would be better informed, she should know that David is the false target. She should attack Emily cause she was responsible for all that. Another thing, I know it is superficial, but since we get to see not that much of it this season, one just enjoyed the two dresses of the ladies. Natalie looks great in this black gown, which surely should allude to the black widow trope. And like I said before, Victoria is wearing her red dress again, which she first wore with Pascal in season 3. Sure, it is due to the fact that she still has not that much money at hand to buy a new dress, but I think the dress is sending a message as well. First of all, because red is the color in revenge for takedowns. And second, because now she is single again, she might be thinking back on her time with Pascal. Even more as Margaux is pregnant with his and her grandchild. About Emily not beating up the guy. I appreciate that they try to reverse roles here and restore the natural order, as some men would say. Because both Jack and Ben are policemen and trained for these kind of situations. But I was really disappointed that after her great quote that she is the last person he wants to mess with, she did not show us her skills. Yes, Revenge was never that kind of show with much violence. And even when Pascal and Conrad were killed, we hardly saw much of it actually happen. Which I appreciate, since I am not a big fan of such brutal scenes. But why could she not take him out like she used to all these seasons before? It was just such an anticlimactic scene. Another thing, when I saw this hug, I really wished he would reconcile with April and makes way for Emily and Jack. I know they wanted to make us connect with him and make this conflict he has because of Emily and her vendetta with Victoria real. But I think it would have been better if they had ditched this storyline and sticked with the original one at the beginning. Jack being a police officer and having to put Emily in jail would have been a far better and greater emotional rollercoaster. It would have been hard keeping him a target for Margaux and having him on the run with Emily, but they could have found a way. I mean, in the end it did not matter that much that Ben was promoted to a detective. Margaux tried to find on dirt him as well and blackmailed him with April even though he was a cop. Spoiler alert. And after talking with Emily in jail, he still went on his own to see if her story was true. So Jack could have easily fulfilled this role and still be Emily's endgame. They could have tested their relationship with this mess instead of having her choose Ben over him. About Louise killing her brother. I must admit I did not see this coming. Neither the murder nor that treasure of information on Nolan's laptop. I mean, how could he be so stupid? I always thought that Emily was reckless with her infinity box. But she kept that at least hidden secure and throw her laptop into water after Fomander used it to blackmail Conrad. Since Nolan is so into hacking and computers, it never occurred to me that he would not delete all files that could connect him and Emily to the crimes they committed during their revengenda. How could he think something like this would be safe on his computer? He of all people must have known how easy it is for someone to hack into a laptop. I mean, if he had secured it, Louise's brother would have not had the chance to download all the files. By the way, how did he get the password? Emily's was easy to guess if you knew about the infinity symbol. What is Nolan's password? 88. Anyway, besides the accident, this looks very much like Formunder's murder of Frank. She did that to protect her and Emily's secret. And here Louise is doing this to protect Nolan and Emily. Again, I hate this trope that no one calls the police. I mean, what is she doing in the meantime until they are informing here that her brother is dead? This was clearly an accident, and they surely can prove it when they examine the body. So why not call Nolan and the police telling the truth? I mean, she could have lied about the fight if that would have made her more comfortable and told them that she just saw him fall. Anyway, she should have definitely told Nolan the truth sooner. That would have lifted much weight of her heart. 'Cause even Nolan can see that something is not right with her. And like always in these kind of scenes, you wanna scream that he should just ask her. Talking about repetitious and mirroring storylines. I just love this end montage with Jack being arrested and Carl taking away from him. Even this was not her friend and true love. Seeing this just hits home for Emily. And mixing it with Emily's memories of her worst day in childhood in the next episode was just genius. I also like the disturbed conversation, cause unlike Ben, we know that Jack was her first love and is her weak spot in every sense. Finally, we have a fulfilling cliffhanger here that does not disappoint in the next episode, cause this one is again one of my favorites.